Hey, look who's back. It's Misaki Yuasa, and I tell you what, I'll shove a pointy stick up my ass and be spit roast by a wealthy cult of bored cannibals if that ain't a wonderful thing. Whenever director Misaki Yuasa wakes up and decides to make a TV series, I tend to be reminded of why I watch anime in the first place, which is occasionally necessary after a long chain of god-awful isekai. However, Eizouken is a bit different. There's some noticeable absences in Hands Off Eizouken that I consider Yuasa staples. Absent is the truly bizarre art style, the high-concept philosophical and psychological theming, and his trademark fondness for getting funky with narrative structure. It seems to me that there was a deliberate attempt to make Eizouken more accessible, and as a result, this is the most subdued I think I've ever seen the guy. However, subdued Yuasa kicks ass. 2020 should be embarrassed to have blown its wad this early. I'm all for coming out with a bang, but exploding all of your hot steamy creativity right into our faces in the winter season has got to be a dysfunction. It's fairly clear to me that Yuasa has been both deeper and more creative in the past, but he's never been this accessible and arguably never this emotionally impactful. Hands Off Eizouken had me enthralled. Got me to care about its characters, it had me rejoicing in the magic of creation, got me to delight in the idiosyncrasies of a fascinating concrete jungle. This anime made me feel things, and if you can manage to make a piece of art genuinely moving, you've gifted the world with a high only otherwise achievable with good food, hard drugs, and an adventurous sex partner. And damn it, Hands Off Eizouken is moving! The first thing you tend to notice about Yuasa anime is the art direction. Hands Off Eizouken is no different. Eizouken looks immediately distinctive, and furthermore, it looks absolutely gorgeous, which is actually kind of surprising. While Yuasa visuals are always impactful, they aren't usually conventionally appealing. Every frame of Pink Pong the animation looks like a sketch artist was paid $10 to quick sketch the world's ugliest teenager. This isn't a criticism. I think Yuasa's willingness to explore aesthetics outside of convention is a major strength, but I bring it up because Eizouken's aesthetic feels comparatively timid when looking at other Yuasa works. However, this is where my criticism ends, because this anime looks stunning. The backgrounds look great. In terms of line work, style, and even color, there's nothing all that shocking, but it stands out due to composition. The backgrounds have a ton of depth and verticality, with buildings, ledges, and bridges crisscrossing into an impenetrable maze, but the bright colors and low contrast make these labyrinths more inviting than imposing, supercharging your desire to see this world explored. Then there's the character arcs. One thing I've always respected about Yuasa is that Yuasa gives his characters visual flaws. No one else seems willing to do this. There's only one character in the show who looks generically appealing, and because she is a model, but everyone else looks like deformed reminders of mankind's tragic imperfection. In other words, they look like people. The character profiles and features are exaggerated and cartoonish, but the fact that everyone has obvious visual flaws makes them have a sense of immediate personality, completely lost in 90% of all of their anime. It also means that everyone is easily identifiable at a glance. I just love it all so goddamn much. This all contributes to the anime's amazing sense of atmosphere. That atmosphere is not quite as thick as a lot of other artsy anime, but I'm not sure it's any less compelling for it. As I mentioned, the art design molds the backgrounds into strangely welcoming labyrinths, and the world design itself is much the same. But you wouldn't necessarily expect a show about making anime to be much about the joy of exploring the world around you, but in Eizouken, that joy is fundamental to the experience. 50% of this anime is just the three leads bumming around their weird-ass city, concocting elaborate fantasies to explain its many idiosyncrasies, and the anime makes this process feel impossibly exciting. The background art and world building is an important part of this, but one can't ignore the elephant in the room. There are the imagination sections. During moments of inspiration, the anime will descend into a landscape based on the creative process of one of the lead characters, while nearby characters observe, edit, and exist within her fantasy. I love these bits. First of all, the music is absolutely fantastic. In fact, I love the sound design in general during these bits. The way the anime layers real sound effects with the characters' vocal approximations is absolutely inspired. And I also love the shift into an art style to a more sketchy, unfinished style, reminiscent of, appropriately enough, an animated storyboard. These sections feel great, uplifting, mesmerizing, celebrations of the creativity inherent to children artists and probably Yuasa himself. One might assume the atmosphere created during these sections would contrast with the mundanities of the actual creation of the anime, but I found they actually inform it. These mundanities come to represent the realization of the fantastic world you just witnessed, and in doing so, are granted a special magic of their own. I also love the beautiful balancing act accomplished by the tone. The tone between the main characters animating and the main characters interacting with the broader setting is undeniably different, however the transition isn't jarring and I'm not sure how. Anime are often really bad at tone, particularly when they try to juggle several different ones. It normally ends up with them all dropping the balls, stepping on a landmine, being blown backwards into a river full of starving alligators and malaria. But Eizouken has no such issues. It juxtaposes the painstakingly authentic mundanity of actual anime production with an exaggerating setting populated by total weirdos. It does so with incredible fluidity. During certain moments, you can almost forget that they live in a non-Euclidean town whose school is filled with squad-equipped disciplinary committees, but then it rockets you back into that absurd heightened reality, and somehow the transition feels amazing. It's like the payoff to a joke. Even though every moment of the show is riveting, there's a cycle of build-up and release that I suppose echoes the emotional build-up and release of real-world anime production. Not that I would know, but the point is there's a compelling cycle of tones here that would have been very easy to mess up and leaving the anime feeling sloppy or poorly planned. Eizouken pulls it off brilliantly. Now we come to the characters. I love them all. Every single damn one of them is just a treat. Just to start, they're all universally incredibly likable. Side characters and main ones alike are incredibly easy to get attached to without relying on shallow aesthetics or generic cuteness. They all have flaws and idiosyncrasies, but that just makes them human, and as humans they are impossibly endearing, and in the case of their three leads, incredibly aspirational. This anime is about high schoolers making anime in a club, but do not imagine it's anything like K-On! These characters are talented, driven, and all have that special spark of passion that makes it impossible not to root for them. In addition, they are very well written to be multidimensional and distinct. Broadly, they are pretty clearly idealized personifications of their role in production. The writer-directress is a nervous, flighty auteur prone to sudden flashes of inspiration and productivity. The animator is a technical genius with a pure passion for movement and art for its own sake. And the producer is a somewhat grumpy yet lovable taskmaster who is always right, loves money, and is the only reason anything ever gets done. It would be easy to stop there, and I probably would have still praised the show for that creative decision, but when you come to really understand these characters' backstories and driving motivations in a way that feels incredibly organic, and it contextualizes them and their motivation brilliantly. Miyazaki in particular had a fantastic backstory that I found incredibly personally affecting. These characters are all testaments to how to invest in a character without making them generically cute, or having life arbitrarily shit on them at all times. They are testaments to how to provide motivation for highly driven characters in a way that seems natural and doesn't come across as needlessly melodramatic. I can't think of anyone else whose lives I would much rather follow. Annoying people tend to ask me why I watch anime if I hate it so much. My typical response is to immediately punch them in the genitals, steal their credit cards, and sell their organs to heroin addicts. But if I were more willing to entertain annoying people asking stupid questions, I would respond that I don't, in fact, hate anime. I love anime. I have watched anime since I was 6 years old, and it's played a substantial role in my life to this very day. Shows like this are why. If the very best anime could do was decent but forgettable shows like Kaguya-sama, I would have fled the medium for pastures new long ago. However, shows like Hands Off Eizouken remind me why I so stubbornly refuse to grow out of it. For better or for worse, it's shows like Hands Off Eizouken that I will be remembering the next time watching some godforsaken video game anime about an ugly nerd acquiring a harem of thick-witted horny cat girls. I'm hard on anime because I know anime can be great, and I know anime can be great precisely because of shows like Hands Off Eizouken. Eizouken is a magnificently powerful thing. Is it Yuasa's best work? Probably not. In fact, my biggest worries about this show is that its accessibility will allow it to overshadow its past achievements. However, if my insignificant role in the anime community, and indeed the larger cosmos, is just to cry out for some creative similes and a thumbs up or down, it's hard to imagine I could give a more emphatic thumbs up. I loved watching this. It made me feel powerfully good and hopeful and awestruck by the wonder of anime and creativity in general. Everyone needs to watch Hands Off Eizouken.